Okay, well, let's chat. I'm going to record this, and some people might pop in, and that's fine. What I wanted to do, you guys, so Kara mentioned that a few people on her team are working towards elite rank, and she has a predominantly young team. Like, how old are you girls? If you don't mind me asking. 24. Okay. And Mariah, how old are you? I know you're like walking around, but
23.
23. Okay. Yeah. So what I was thinking is we could have a quick chat. I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but just about 20 minutes on some of the basics to get to elite rank. And anyone who's watching the recording, by the way, my name is Geralyn, and I'm a Presidential Diamond with doTERRA. I should introduce myself. And a lovely lady by the name of Kara, she's my sister-in-law, is just having me out to speak to some of the girls on her team tonight. And I wanted to record this because, again, you guys are a predominantly younger team, which is super hot, by the way. And so not only do I want to give you some tips on building to elite rank, but I also want to talk about some tips for younger entrepreneurs, because you guys are in a little bit of a different element. You're just at a different journey in your life, right? It's very different when you're 24 than if you're 34. I know that a lot of you, though, have responsibility. You have kids. Do you have kids, Lindsay?
Step.
Oh, cool. Okay. So yeah, like a lot of you are, you're young, but you're in relationships, or you have kids, or you have, the world today too, it's like we kind of have to grow up a little bit quicker. The cost of living, it's just, and I'm sure you can relate to this. It can be stressful. Can you relate to that? Like being, a young woman or a young man, if you're watching this and going, what do I want to do with my life? Or what do I want to do with my business? And a lot of you, I think, if I'm really tapping into your visions in the right way, I feel like you're choosing doTERRA because you're learning and you're putting into application responsibility, which a lot of young people struggle with. They can wait till they're like 26, 27, 28 to look at their wealth plan, or to look at, how they want to start to lean into personal growth, or, what business vehicle, if anything, is aligned for them. And I don't want to say by that point it's too late. It's just, I didn't get started until I was 27. And I wish I was learning some of the things that you guys really have the privilege of learning in doTERRA when I was your age, because nobody taught me. They don't teach this stuff in school, what you learn here. And so you are very lucky. So I wanted to bring in this theme of building to elite, yes, and some of the foundational principles, but also put a little spin on it for young people. Okay? Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the first thing I want to talk about, actually, I have just about 4 or 5 points, okay? So the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to the younger, I feel weird using that word, but it's true. The younger generation and entrepreneurship is, I want to talk about money, okay? Because this happens to everybody at a certain point in their journey. But oftentimes when people start this business, money can be a stressor, okay? And I'm not sure if you guys feel this, or I'm not sure if this is like a theme that has emerged for you at all. Okay, you're nodding.
Yeah.
Like even sometimes the idea of like processing your LRP order can be a stretch, or maybe you feel this with other expenses in your life, right? And oftentimes women, moms, families who start doTERRA, you're likely doing this because, or you likely started with the oils because you value health. Yes, is that a part of why? Like maybe you wanted like a better way for your kids or your stepkids or yourself. And so that's also starting to take responsibility at a very young age, which I say like kudos to you for. A lot of people are out like just boozing every night or every weekend at this age. They're maybe finishing up college, university, and not clear on what they want and just wreaking havoc on their bodies. And so for you guys, you're starting to turn the tables a little bit. But for some reason, it's very interesting, even though you guys are on the right path where you're starting to honor this desire that you have to put your health and your vitality first, it can bring in all of this fear. Okay. Whereas when we're in like our college or university days and we're out like wasting our money on booze or whatever it is, for some reason we tend to not worry about it if like our bank account is at like in the overdraft or whatever. But yet once we start on more of the conscious path and like the path that's going to guide us to our greatest potential, for some reason like fear kicks in. Do you know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden we freak out, or we want to back out, or we're like, I don't know. And that's because you're at this point, you're at this crossroads where it's like, are you going to conform to what everyone else is doing? Or are you going to choose growth and heightened health and, learning all of these entrepreneurial skills, which it takes time. It's not like quick success. And so that's why the voice of fear comes in, and it basically tries to self-sabotage and tell you you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you'll never be able to afford it, all of the things that come in. And so what I want to do is I want to remind you, okay, of your infinite potential. I want to remind you of how you felt in that moment when you chose this path. And I also want to take a second and encourage you to just take a breath and to get really still and to tap back into why you chose this. I want to talk about your why. I want to talk about your vision. Okay? Because the thing with fear is that it's always going to show up. Some of these money blocks and fears and things I've mentioned, they're going to be there. Fearlessness is not a thing. It's just, those quotes or hashtags on Instagram, it's like fearless. I'm like, you're lying. It's not a thing. Courage is a thing. Okay. So, anyways, I'm kind of ranting on this now, but what I want you to do is know that your foundation of health and vitality, and then eventually business success, because it's built on that foundation, comes from being really honest with yourself about why you're truly doing this. Like, what is the vision that you have for your life, or for your health, or for your family, or all three of those things over the next, let's say, 2 years? Because that's what sparks the fire in you. And that fire, that light, think about plugging in a lamp, okay? And then boom, the whole light gets lit up. That light within you is what crushes the dark. It gets rid of the fear. The fear will be free to come up, but you're more likely to choose courage when we look at like, what do I need to do to go elite? And then when you look at what do I need to do to go premier, to go silver, to go whatever, okay? The fear is going to come up. And so we need your light on. We need your lights bright. And you young people have the most energy and the most light. So you guys can actually shine pretty damn bright. And you guys have a great like leader in Kara. Like, do you see how she just shines online? Like, she don't care. She's just this little light, like, boop, 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 boop. And this is why she rolls at a very high level, because she's not afraid to let that light just like, okay? So, Mariah, what's your why? Like, why are you truly, what do you want? What do you desire?
I would say like just have a really healthy family and healthy life, and help other people to have that as well. And then that's my main thing. But then obviously there's the financial side, to have that like time freedom with my family and not have to worry about going to work or have someone else who's pricing, kind of thing.
Yeah. So you said a healthy family life.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like, if we kind of pick that apart, what would that give me, like a day in your life with you? Bryson's your son, did you say?
Yeah, Bryson. Yeah.
what would that look like? Like, are you running around outside in the forest and he's like a happy little bird? Or are you at like a play date with a friend drinking a free, like an extra hot venti cappuccino? Are you like, what is your happy family life? Your, like, what is so authentic to you?
Yeah, I would say like just waking up in the morning and having like our breakfast, taking all our supplements, and then not having like a rush in time and just being able to do it at our own pace. And then, yeah, getting outside. We have a backyard that goes on to like a park. So just then going out to the park and playing in the park and not worrying about time kind of thing and just doing our own thing. And he's free. And yeah.
And why is that important to you, that you have that and that he has that?
Because I feel like it's important because it's something I really value, and I don't feel that somebody else can do that for him. Like I feel like I'm the only one who can provide that for him.
Yeah. So do you see how I'm just asking a lot of questions to help you like
Mm-hmm.
dig deeper? Like for me, you remind me of me, Mariah. Like I want, and with my family, I just did a Facebook Live on this in the Wealthy Babes group. I wanted to be able to find magic in the mundane, like in the most basic moments that most people just skip over because they're so busy and they're rushing or they're so caught up in like toxicity or drama. I wanted to be able to find the most peace and presence and joy in those moments, like just sitting at the breakfast table, because most families today don't even have breakfast together, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like they get up and they drop their kid off at like the daycare before the school starts, and then they go to their corporate job for whatever 8 hours, and they pick up their kid, and I'm not like passing judgment if some people have to do that. For some people that's actually part of the divine plan for them. They have corporate jobs that are very needed in the world. I'm not trying to like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, for me, I didn't want to do that. That didn't feel right to me. I didn't want to pick up my kid at 7 o'clock at night and then just put her to bed. Like I wanted to be able to be like so present with her, but within that presence, I also didn't want to feel like crap as a mom. I didn't want to feel like I had lost myself or like I had no purpose. I wanted to feel like I was at peace, and I had, you know, and so I had to do a lot of healing work and stuff around that. And the business is what drove that for me. But do you see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like these magical things that we search for can actually show up in these small present moments. And that was a big part of my why.
Yeah. I'm back to work now, and I'm in like a job where it's 8 to 5, and I'm really up and we're out the door, and I'm like, I hate it. Like it sucks because like I took my mat leave for granted. Like I didn't realize how much like I loved every moment. And then now that I'm back to work, it actually like sucks. Like the rush in the morning, and when we get home at like 6 o'clock, and it's rushing to bed, and I don't get any time anymore with Bryson, and it's missing the moments that I value most with him right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And I can feel that fire in you as you're allowing yourself to go deeper and talk about it. I'm like, there's the fire, right? So we can't be afraid of talking about what we truly want, you guys. Okay. Because and this is where you are a leader and an example for other young people, because most young people have no freaking clue. Like I didn't have a clue. And if it wasn't for, I used to go to these yoga workshops, and, you know, my first mentor would talk about her why and what she really wanted. And by her expressing that, it gave me the confidence and the permission to express my own. Right. And so by you telling this story, you know, when you're having a business meeting with someone, by you sharing this amidst your social media posts, like just sprinkling it in. But the most important thing is that you're just clear in your own heart when you're in your own home around this, is that, that clarity, okay, is what is going to inspire other people to get clear. So this is why I'm encouraging you guys to go deep, and anyone catching the recording as well, is like, you should have a vision board up on your fridge or in your office with pieces of your why, like all over it. Okay. So let's say, you know, you want that beautiful presence. Go to Chapters this week, pick out 4 magazines and rip out the word present. Pick out a dining room table with a kid and a mom hanging out on it. Like I'm like picking out images of what you've been talking about, Mariah. And that needs to be like hanging somewhere in your home You might even put it in a frame. Like, this is your vision. This is what you truly desire. This is meant for you, but we need reminders and we have to consciously see it and choose it. So I want you to have that somewhere and keep adding to it. Like, if you want to take a vacation once every 6 months, what most people do is they go into fear and they're like, no, that's not possible because I don't have the money for that. And so it's just, they put their vision on a shelf. I'm like, take it off the damn shelf and put it somewhere where you see it and let your fire burn from that. Okay. And sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4 years for our vision to manifest. Who freaking cares? Because I'm telling you, when you get there, it's amazing. Okay. And you will find pockets of it will manifest along the way. Manifest meaning will come true. So like the full capacity of your vision might not come together for quite some time, but like you're going to start to experience more peace, like incrementally, or you're going to start to, have more moments together outside, or like weird things will start to come together in quite a short period of time. And then you're going to feel better. And then when you take action in your business, people are more drawn into you. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lightness to you. They can sniff out your energy and that you're on this path. Okay. So, Lindsay, tell me a little bit about your why, your vision, like what do you really want, girl?
Well, mine's kind of a little different than Mariah's, but I work at a childcare, so I always find there's always germs and there's always stuff. And I found that I was just I wasn't taking care of myself. I was always getting sick. I was putting my job first. I wasn't thinking about the future and everything that it does.
Yeah.
So basically, when Kara mentioned it to me, I thought she was absolutely nuts. But then she started the one time she pointed out a lot of things that I already do and things I want in the future, and I want a family and everything, and just all the things that I was doing, but it all came down to basically me having to take care of myself in order for me to do everything else before worrying about how many hours a week I'm getting, and doing what I love, but doing the best for me.
I love it. Yeah. Because most people do put other people or their jobs or whatever first. And so you're coming forward and you're saying, I want to choose me first. And when you do that, you'll end up doing your most powerful work in the world, because, people who put everyone else first and themselves second, they end up burning out, and then they're not doing anything really powerful in the world at all. Right.
That's kind of where I was getting
yeah.
I still work like crazy, but it's more I take that time to be okay, well, I need to have a bath and I can throw this in to help me sleep so I better tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. Love it. Amazing. So good. Okay. Let me just come back to my notes for a second. So you both gave great examples of clarity in your why and your vision. And let's just recap the money thing too, because I was kind of ranting and I want to make sure I give a few good tips on that. So if, for young entrepreneurs, again, clarity on your why and your vision, it needs to be deep, it needs to be authentic to you, and recognize that fears around that coming true, fears around money, all sorts of fears are going to come up. And this is where I want to shift the conversation really quickly to choice and responsibility. Okay. So quick story. When I quit the police force 7 years ago, I'm 34. I quit the police force 7 years ago. So my late 20s, because same as you, Lindsay, I was tired of this toxic, dirty work environment. And I wanted to be healthy when I had kids one day. So I wanted to get the heck out of there. So I quit, and we had just bought our first home. So I was dead broke, paycheck to paycheck. I was teaching yoga, but that's not, the quickest way to get ahead. You just don't make a ton of money as a yoga teacher. So I had to decide based on my values, like Mariah said, what I was going to put my spending towards. So my husband and I, we had no curtains on our walls for 5 years. We had no freaking furniture in our living room. And it was kind of embarrassing sometimes, but I got to the point where I didn't care. Like people would come over and I had a huge empty living room because we chose, you know, certain supplements or health foods or whatever, and like personal growth conferences or like small expenses in my business. We're so blessed in doTERRA. We don't have a ton of expenses, right? Other than like maybe buying a book here and there or attending like maybe one business event a year and your LRP order. A traditional business can cost thousands upon thousands of dollars, like hundreds of thousands of dollars, $30,000, you know, to start up. So we don't have that. You know, you have to be patient as it's growing, but you might have to have a part-time job or something going on the side. But like the expenses are not high. So it just comes down to personal choice and responsibility. Like if you feel like this is truly destined for you, are you allowing yourself to get clear on your why and your vision? And are you putting in the application of choice and responsibility when it comes to spending, adapting spending habits, things like that? Okay. There's a ton of books and stuff you can read on that too. It's just like responsibility. The other thing with young people I want to touch on is like, you're going to be called quite quickly to take drama and throw it out the window. And you might even notice this already. It's like, you're going to start to notice that the 5 people you hang out with the most can be a reflection of you, or you'll tend to act like them, speak like them. They say that, like, look at the 5 people you hang out with the most, and that's who your life is going to end up like. And so when I left the police force, it was a very awkward time for me for about 2 years, because a lot of the friends, to be honest, my husband and I had were toxic and drama infused and negative. Like this policing energy, it reminded me of high school, was very toxic. And so I'm not trying to like judge the younger generation or put you guys in a certain like stigma or anything like that. But at the same time, I want to be real and say, like, for young people, immaturity can sometimes be an issue, and like just toxicity, drama, gossip, crap. You want to start to get rid of that and replace it with, you know, what are you putting into your body? How are you spending your time? Like, who are you spending your time with? Okay. Fueling your ears with only like beautiful podcasts or books or a yoga class, as opposed to the date with the friend who just gossips for 45 minutes, because all of that is going to clog your life force energy. And it's just not healthy in this industry. So give yourself grace. You don't need to be perfect here. It might take some time, but just be self-aware of this, because I see this with young people. Okay. What else was I going to say on that? Yeah. Okay. So now let's talk about elite rank. Okay. So I know for you guys and for anyone catching the recording, you've likely been working towards elite for maybe quite some time, or maybe if you're in like a launch to elite program or a 30, 60, 90 day thing. I mean, elite rank at its core is about 2 things. Number 1, clarity on your why and vision, which we talked about. That's kind of the personal growth, like heart side of it. Really stepping up into responsibility, choice, taking some action there, removing some drama. Okay. But the biggest thing is the action. So part 2 is applying the mechanics of this business, which is just PIPES, the acronym PIPES. P is prepare, I is invite. The second P in PIPES is present, E is enroll, and S is support. So essentially, you are putting the basic skills into motion in your business, okay? And you're doing that over and over and over again, and you're enrolling over and over and over again until you see that your overall volume hits that 3,000, which is elite. And you can do this in a month if you really want to. Like, you don't have to. If that idea is not aligned and congruent for you, that's fine. Like, all you would do is look at, okay, if a typical class, like if you teach a class, typically a class brings in like 400 to 500 PV in volume, right? So if you take that and you look at, okay, to get to 3,000, how many classes would I have to teach, right? So if one class brings in 500, then I would have to teach maybe, okay, 6 classes, or maybe add on an extra one just in case one class doesn't pan out or whatnot. You could totally do that. So you obviously at the start of the month, again, I want you guys to treat this month as the month that you let your light shine the brightest as it has ever shone. Like when it comes to sending out invites, text messages, follow-ups, there's a 200 PV promo this month. When it comes to being in the action of pipes, I just want you to allow that light to burn the brightest it ever has. I want your invites to have beautiful energy behind it. Challenge yourself to speak in a way you maybe haven't spoken before. Like it's you, but it's the enhanced version of you, the mature, sexy, like badass entrepreneur coming out. Okay. The way that you follow up with people and the way that you treat your business. If you have 20 minutes a day because you've got 3 kids, when you sit down, it's taking a deep breath and being responsible and going, if I have 20 minutes, I'm going to send out 2 invites and do 3 follow-ups. Because that is way more effective than like scrolling Facebook for 15 minutes, which makes us feel like shit. And then talking to your toxic friend, Jen, who just, you know what I'm saying? And then we feel like crap after. We're like, why did I do that? It's just a cycle. So I want you to think about the most light, like this sounds like a weird analogy, but you know, the most powerful light infused version of yourself, and how would she act? And I want you to act like her. Okay. And then the last piece of that puzzle, because I'm not going to go through like a training on like inviting and following up. And, you know, you guys have Kara to help you with that if you need, and anyone watching the recording, like you have your uplines, we have on my team, our foundations course where it goes through like how to present at a class, how to invite powerfully, like there's all of that. And I'm pretty sure you guys have seen solid examples there. So I'm not going to like go through all of that right now. But the last thing I wanted to talk about is just confidence with that as well. So, you know, when you're teaching a class this month or doing a one-to-one, I want you to show up in a way you never have before. I want you to challenge yourself to show up in a way you never have before. So maybe you stand up taller and you really look people in the eye, like the most mature version of you, like when you're telling your story at the start of the class and you're like, hey, this is why I got started with the oils. I want you to tell that in a way that you never have before. Or maybe you really flex your courage muscle and you send out an invite to somebody that has been like on your chicken list, and you're like, you know what, I don't give a whatever, I'm just gonna do this, you know. I want you to act from that place, and I want you to notice what comes from that. Okay. Because there's always something good on the other side. So sometimes we take action on something like a courageous invite or a certain, like a vulnerable social media post or whatever. And maybe the person ends up saying no. Like maybe you get a lot of no's. And so we might think, fear might tell us like, oh, that doesn't work. But that's not true. That's just fear. Anytime we're acting from that place of courage, there's always something good that comes. And so it's like by the end of the month, you might have someone random reach out to you and be like, you know what, I've been following you and I know you've been doing this doTERRA thing and I'd love to join. And you're going to be like, oh, where did she come from? Well, she came as the manifestation of your courageous action for the first 3 weeks of the month or whatever. And so this is where the miracles will happen, right? And I've seen this, like I think about the day we went Presidential Diamond as a team. I had like 3 hours left in the month. So at the last day of the month, you have until like midnight Salt Lake City time to get your orders in. And we had like 3 hours left and we were short like 8,000 in volume. So you know how to go to Elite, you guys, you need 3,000. I needed 8,000 in 3 hours and I made it happen because I refused to believe that it wasn't possible. I just kept telling my team, I said, you keep taking action on whatever it is you're called to do. You just keep acting courageously. And every act of courage, something happened. Like my girlfriend said, I did this. I acted courageously. I did this. And it was Halloween. We went to Presidential Diamond in October. And it was like Halloween night, right? Like October 31st or whatever. So this one girl, a silver leader on my team, She's like, I did XYZ, right? And then she goes, I went next door to she had to run over to her neighbor's house. Her neighbor was having a Halloween party and called her and needed like I don't know, she needed like a serving platter or something. So this girl on my team goes over there, ends up having a conversation with some random person at the party who had been looking for a doTERRA rep and literally bought like a natural solutions kit off of her. And she couldn't believe that happened. And I said, well, I know why that happened. It's because we were in such courageous action as a team so do you see what I'm saying? So sometimes you're not going to enroll all the people at your class, but if you're growing, maturing, improving your skills, right? Acting courageously, results will come from somewhere else. It's like magic how this happens. Okay. So I just, if elite is your goal this month, or if you're catching the recording and it's premier or even silver, okay, this relates to anyone up to the rank of silver, is I want you to act on that, whether it's 20 minutes a day or 2 hours a day, until the very end of the month. And if you don't hit your goal, it's totally fine. You don't want to have too much attachment to it, because oftentimes if we don't hit, it's just preparing us for when we are meant to hit. So does that feel good? Like, do you guys see what I'm saying? Okay. And I want you to give yourself grace around this process, because you are young and you are courageous for choosing your health and for choosing to look at, your personal growth and what it is you truly desire. And I know it's hard to put yourself out there as a young entrepreneur to even consider starting something like this. And so I want to acknowledge you, and yeah, it's amazing what you're doing. So that's it. Let me just see if there was, I think that's all I had. So I hope that's helpful. I'm doing like a few calls back to back to back tonight while my husband's doing bedtime. So, so let's leave it at that. I'm going to pop this recording into there was a little elite group that Kara had for you guys, right? I'm going to pop it there. If you ever want to push play, get re-inspired, okay? And that's it. So keep me posted on how this month goes for you guys. Fire me off a little message. I check my Facebook messages, so fire that off to me or on Instagram if you want, and keep me posted on how it goes. And I will post the recording. And thanks for being here. I know it was last minute, but it's great to connect with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thanks for popping on.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, have a good night.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.